we should introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Kim Ramsey, and I'm a graduate of PSU 2003.
And I'm Aimee Shattuck, and I'm a graduate of PSU 2002.
Pollyanne, graduate of PSU 2003, and then again I came back and futzed around for a bit. But I'm graduated now.
Yay! We're all graduated.
Right.
And we were going to tell the story about the mission statement of the Women's Resource Center.
So one day we decided to have a retreat, and I offered up my house. So everybody met at my house, and we worked on the retreat all day and strategic planning. My kids were there. I remember them being okay.
Yeah, they were good.
They hung out, and we ate food and hung out and worked on things that we wanted to accomplish at the Women's Resource Center for the year, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And well, then also, future years.
Yeah.
And then we went out to sushi after that at a place down the street from my house.
Oh yeah.
To kind of celebrate.
That's right. That's right.
How it is.
And you live like way out in Southeast in a place I had never been before.
Right.
Sushi Takahashi.
Yeah, that was
Right.
good.
Yes.
And I remember one of the big conversations, and this was in 2002, right?
Yes.
So the big conversation was to make sure that we put female identified in the mission
yeah.
statement, and it was like a big conversation, and some people really had to learn what that meant, and it wasn't a controversy or anything, but it was really important that we put that in, and so that's been part of our mission statement for a long time. And I looked, and it's the same mission statement.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
we went and got the
That's
flyer,
why I
yeah.
tell the story.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. That's
Yeah.
terrific.
Yay!
So 12
Yeah.
years later, it's the
It
same
worked.
mission statement. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's fun being
Don't mess
from
with
that
it.
era too, because I think going from having a very, keeping the baton kind of rolling from folks that have been there 25, 30 years before us, we were kind of stuffed in the Smith Center. And during our period of time, I think, because we all put in a lot of work, and I also think because some of the program we did, Vagina Monologues, Take
Yeah.
Back the Night,
Yes.
some of the other
Love
programs.
Your Body Day.
Right, it really, I
Yeah,
think,
We
gave us
did that, yeah.
kind of a legitimate go at getting more student funding and then making it a proper center. And we heard such great feedback from people, well, some sad feedback too, that other offices on campus were not providing the same level of advocacy and services around sexual assault, safe sex,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff that we were. So we felt really proud that we were able to garner a little bit more money and then come into a new space and see that shepherd into a whole new space and a whole new thing.
Oh,
So
this space is amazing.
it really is.
This is the size of our
I know.
yeah.
It's kinda crazy.
With our 3 desks in the lobby, and
Yeah.
we were talking earlier about the music, and there were some CDs that were there
Right.
That we listened to
over and over. Frida, the soundtrack.
Dar Williams, that was always one that came up.
And the
Andy
gossip.
Franco.
Yeah. Alex Olson.
Right.
Yeah. And the books. We had a pretty good library then.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And we were so squished next to each other, we had to get along.
Yes.
Right. There was no drama because we
And
had
that
to work
painting was
together.
between the 2 desks. I remember now,
Mhm. Yeah.
looking at it, I was like, that looks familiar. Why is that?
Right. So I want to hear Aimee starts the story about the.
Oh, Lou Church.
Yes.
Okay, so do you remember this?
Miss America.
Okay, so about Miss America.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember this? Okay, so it was actually the year that I was graduating. So we were still a student group, and I was graduating in 2002. And it was, commencement was going to be in June, so I think it was maybe like May of
Mhm.
2002. Here comes this guy, never seen him before, ever. And he looks like, who does he look like? Mike, the activist with the ball cap, who's from...
Michael Moore.
He looks
Yes.
like Michael Moore, yeah,
He
but with
does.
a
Kinda
spittle.
tall. Right.
With a permanent spittle. So, sorry Lou if you ever watch this,
Yeah.
but you know how I feel. So, student Lou Church comes in, he looks like Michael Moore with spittle, and he's like, did you hear who the commencement speaker is going to be? And I said, no. And he says, it's going to be Miss America, because she's a student at PSU, and she hasn't graduated, but she's
Right.
Miss Oregon, became Miss America, and that's who the commencement speaker is. What do you think about that? And I said, I wouldn't have chosen that.
Right.
And I think Polly and I were in there together.
We're like, oh, we got bigger fish to fry.
yeah,
Like,
we're like working on domestic violence
Right,
and sexual
right.
assault
Yeah.
stuff, and it was a
Right.
sexual assault awareness month, and we were,
Right,
we're just coming
honey.
up to Take Back the Night. Used to be like the beginning of May, and
That's
so
right, yeah.
we were like really busy with the things we thought were important. And Miss America being the commencement speaker was disappointing, but whatever.
Right.
And he's like, well, I'm planning a protest, and will you sign on? because we're gonna have a protest. And I was like, nah, no, because I don't really want to protest
Right.
grandmas and aunts and like grandpa who comes from another state. Like, but this is where I was like, but humor could go a long way. Remember, we were like, we will sign on to a protest if you and your buddies go out there in bikinis.
Right.
And say, I'm Miss America, and hand out
Right,
pamphlets about
right.
sexism, because that would get people laughing, and
Yeah.
then they would. But no, he was only interested in like really traditional style protests.
It felt like he wanted a front. He wanted a female-centered front for his mission
Let me
for
just
this.
call that. Let me go visit that female
Right.
agency on campus.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because
You'll
Yeah.
be pissed, so I'll get you
Right,
to do it.
right.
He was pissed. So, anyways, we were like, no. That's the last time. Then all of a sudden, I can't remember how.
It was Associated Press, CNN, all of the news channels here contacted us.
He called a press conference, but we didn't know it.
And the press conferences, we were the
He put
subjects
our
of the
name.
press
He put our
conference.
name on the press release, and so the press shows up on campus. He had gotten a room on campus, but he didn't say what it was for.
Oh.
So they came to our office.
So they show up to the press conference, and it's just like this like not very well spoken Michael Moore standing in front of you, like doesn't look good on TV, and they're like, "What? Who's this?" So they can't get anything from him, so they come looking for us, and people are like, "The press is after you!" And I'm like, "What? No!" And I had to run around. I remember I went to UCOM and the president's office. Like I didn't have anything to do with this. I'm so sorry.
Right.
But the press didn't want to hear that. They were calling. I remember our voicemail was full. Our
Oh my
emails were full.
It was
and
like a
all
national thing.
Our pictures were on our website. Like I remember
yeah.
and I remember Lars Larson said that we were all fat, ugly lesbians. And that's why. And I remember telling one reporter, I was like, "Look, you obviously haven't seen me."
Oh, the rest of my stuff.
Woo-wee, girl.
And we got all this hate mail because you know Lars Larson was having all this stuff, and I remember just feeling this, which is really ridiculous and like so egocentric. I realize now, but I remember walking around campus thinking, everyone is looking at me, everyone is mad at me, and CNN is calling, and Good Morning America wanted us to be on the show and talk about Miss America, and people were just.
But that's really not what it was about at the end of that.
No.
That was just like.
We did get a good quote into Associated Press, I remember, but.
Well, I think part of it too was funny because I remember I was sitting at the front desk and a reporter, a woman reporter came, and she had her news camera behind her, and you know she was all dolled up. I mean, she looked a lot different than a lot of the other students around. I mean, she was very like super glammed out, and she came up and said, you know, will you give us a quote? And I said, you know what I find really interesting is we've done major fundraising, that Vagina Monologues, we raised $10,000 for Portland's Crisis Line, we've done Take Back the Night, we've done these major programs. You guys have never covered any of it. But there's a controversy of what we're supposed to be angry about, something that we're not even angry about, and you come in mass.
Yeah.
And she said, do you want to make a statement or not? I said, I just did.
Yeah.
I just did make a statement. Why aren't you covering the important things like anti-violence and shit?
Yeah.
I remember that. And I think there was like another time when like a follow-up, and it had to be the same poor girl, we just picked on her. And she said something to me, and I said, how did you get this beat? Like, and she said, oh, my editor put me on the Miss America beat because she's from Oregon. I said, that sucks. I'm so sorry that you don't get to cover real news. And she was like, oh.
Right.
I was like, well, you know, I'm sorry. That sucks, you know. But then I ended up writing a letter to Lou saying, like, you try to tokenize us as feminists, and we don't want to have anything to do with you. And
Right.
The original thing just got lost way in there.
Yeah.
It really did, honey. It really did. It is kind of. It's
But
like
they
a
hired
statement
me
that-
anyways. I couldn't believe it.
I was gonna say that's such a statement. Like you watch all the media now, and it's I don't watch these programs. I have a couple people in my life that do for like fun, but like all the housewives and some other, and it seems like the format is just a lot of women kind of competing and being angry with one another. And I think people just, sometimes folks are drawn to that, or that's what the media folks think that people want to see or something.
Yeah.
And that's what gets so much attention. And it's like, what about all the stories like Golden Girls? Golden Girls, where people love each other. Old ladies getting dicked up.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay, Blanche.
I know, right? I'm totally Blanche. I'm equal parts Blanche and Rose, actually.
They
Anyways.
need a BuzzFeed quiz for that.
Yeah.
So true. Well, cool.
Oh, I
Thank
think
you.
we do have a ticket.
Oh.